Hello, malakas ng ulan. O, ganun talaga. Kailangan mag-aral pa rin. Na exception yan. Walang Sabado, walang Linggo, walang Bagyo, walang holiday. So, I think this is part 40, part 41, still on the Lopez cases. In the case of Abelardo Salazar versus Sinbahon. Yan. Alis na tayo sa maritime, man. Alis na tayo sa maritime. Ah, ang issue dito is yung requirement for an appeal and employer-employer relationship. Sabihin ko na sa inyo dito, ang nanalo yung employer. Hindi employer, yung kumpanya kasi walang employer-employer relationship. So, the facts are summarized as follows. Merong building, doon sa building merong restaurant, and doon sa restaurant may mga nagtatrabaho. Sino nagtatrabaho doon? Si Simbahon. Ang may-ari ng building si Abelardo, ang may-ari ng restaurant si Lucia. O, nagkaroon ng problema, sabi ni Lucia doon sa mga kinasimbahon et al, marami sila eh. Nag-uunion kasi, sasara na natin tong restaurant na to, tanggal na kayo. Siyempre, ang balik ni na simbahon et al, marami sila, unfair labor practice, illegal dismissal. So yon, alam niyo na anong nangyari. Okay? So, si Abelardo, yung may-ari ng building, nagpresenta siya ng mga dokumento. Sabi niya, I am just the owner, I am just the lessor of the building where the restaurant operates. And as supporting evidence, he presented a contract of lease, tax return, certificate of registration of business name, mayor's permit, certificate of registration with the BIR. So, yun ang issue. Sino ang employer ni Nasimbahon? Is it the owner of the building or the owner of the restaurant? Okay, so ang first issue dito, natalo si owner eh. Natalo si owner, si Abelardo. So, nagkaroon ng problema doon sa kanyang appeal because his appeal was dismissed by the Court of Appeal. So, bakit ano yung facts regarding the posting, the filing on appeal? So, ito yon ano. The records reveal that Abelardo, yung owner ng building, received on March 23, 2007 the labor arbiter's decision. Meron siyang 10 days. March 23, kung 10 days yung period to appeal, meron siya hanggang April 2. Okay. On March 30, 2007, so pasok. Abelardo appealed and moved to reduce bond. At the same time, Abelardo deposited a cashier's check in the amount of 500,000 in favor of Simbahon. So, ang ginawa ni Abelardo, nag-file siya ng appeal within the same period, within the prescribed period of time, 10 days, and then nag-file siya ng motion to reduce bond. Sabi niya, pwede ba NLRC 500,000 lang ang ipopost kong bond? Ngayon, on April 2, Abelardo posted a security bond in the amount of 3,100,000. Subsequently, with the NLRC's approval. Mind you, sa pagpopost ng bond, merong dalawang klase ng pagpopost ng bond. Isang cash bond or surety bond. Yung cash bond, well, cash yan. Yung surety, kukuha ka ng surety company, magbabayad ka ng premium dyan, and then maraming requirements, issue ang kanila ng surety bond. Okay naman yon. In fact, in-approve naman ng NLRC. Yung 500,000 na cash bond ni Abelardo, he moved that it be replaced with the 500,000 with the surety bond in the amount of 3,100,000. Sabi niya sa NLRC, akin na yung aking 500,000 na cash bond. I'm replacing it with the surety bond, which is 3,100,000. So in fact, Abelardo posted an amount of 3,600,000 within the reglementary period. So, sabi ng Supreme Court, ano na natin, madaliin na natin, substantial compliance na yan. Aralin nyo yung Guanzon versus NLRC kasi yan yung ano yan yung I think we have already discussed that in my past lectures. Kung ano yung requirement for you to file a motion to reduce bond. Ano yung mga requirements? You must make a memorandum of appeal. You must make a motion to reduce bond. You must deposit at least 10% of the monetary award as cash bond or surety bond. And then the reglementary period of 10 days, ano yan, masosuspend na. Kung ngayon, anong grounds for you to motion for you to file a motion to reduce bond? Dapat dalawa yan. Dapat meron kang proof na hindi mo talaga kayang mag-post nung bond nung complete bond. Dapat meron kang financial report, financial statement coming from a certified public accountant na talagang hindi mo kaya mag-post ng bond, and dapat meritorious yung appeal mo. So yung dalawa yan substantial evidence to prove financial incapacity, and second, there must be merit on your appeal. Maski na nag-file ka ng motion to reduce bond, kung wala kang substantial evidence that you can't really post the complete bond, madideny yan. Maski na meron kang proof that you cannot really post the complete bond, kung hindi meritorious yung appeal mo, madideny yung motion to reduce bond mo. In this case, Abelardo has proven both of them. So sabi ng Supreme Court through Justice Lopez, okay na yan. Meron ng substantial compliance. So, itong Guanzon versus McBurney doctrine yan McBurney doctrine. Yung Guanzon versus McBurney, paulit-ulit na yan, mga 3 beses na tinanong yan sa bar exam. But hindi natin alam, baka mamaya itanong ulit, or baka naman pwedeng discuss nyo yun, magkakaroon kayo ng credit. So, always be wary about the Guanzon versus McBurney. Now, let's go to the other issue. Meron bang employer-employee relationship? So, in our past discussion, discuss na natin kung kailan merong employer-employee relationship. Yung four-fold test. Yung the selection and engagement of the employee, or the power to hire, sino ba ang nag-hire sa'yo? The payment of wages, sino ba ang nagbabayad ng sweldo mo? The power to dismiss, sino ang may power na magtatanggal ng mga empleyado? And the power to control. So sabi ng Supreme Court po Justice Lopez, itong four-fold test hindi to present lahat dito sa case ni Abelardo. So mind you, dito sa case na to, nakakuha sila ng former manager na nag-a-attest na empleyado talaga sila nung may-ari ng building. But sabi ng Supreme Court po Justice Lopez, standing alone, the affidavit of the restaurant's manager standing alone does not constitute substantial proof absent supporting document. Ano yung mga supporting document to prove na sila yung mga empleyado? Yung pre-employment records, appointment letters, engagement contract, indicative na empleyado nga sila. Sabi ng Supreme Court, mere allegation is not tantamount to evidence. Second, with respect to the payment of wages, it was not shown by the complainant that they are receiving their wages from the owner of the building. They did not present their payslip and other related documents. And to the power to dismiss, ang nag-dismiss sa kanila si Lucia. yung may-ari ng restaurant. So, there being no evidence that there is an application of the fourfold doctrine, sabi ng Supreme Court in this case to Justice Lopez, there is no employer-employer relationship. Let's go to Bicol, Isarog Transport versus Relucio. So, ang usapan lang dito, pinag-uusapan lang natin dito, kung liable si Bicol Isarog Transport ng nominal damages for failure to serve on the complainant yung notice to explain, o was he afforded with due process. So, nagdemanda si complainant ng illegal dismissal because he was dismissed by Bicol Isarog. So what was the contention of Bicol Isarog when the complaint was dismissed? So, facts of the case, si complainant ay isang driver and he insisting on making trips from Masbate to Manila with only 5 passengers on board. So, despite the express order of the employer, na pag lima lang naman, wag mo nang ituloy, palipatin mo sa ibang bus. So, because of the said infraction, he was texted na, okay, mag-report ka dito and mag-explain ka. Ang ginawa ni employee, hindi siya nag-explain, umalis na lang siya. So he was charged of insubordination. A notice to explain was issued to him. Dahil umalis na nga siya, ang ginawa ng HR manager, he went to the address of the employee given in his biodata, NBI, and barangay clearance to personally serve to him the notice to explain. However, upon arriving at the said address, the HR manager was told by the people therein na hindi dito nakatira yan. Si employee, hindi dito nakatira yan. So, he was not able to serve the notice to explain. Dahil hindi na-serve sa kanya yung notice to explain, natural, hindi siya mag-i-explain. Yung notice to explain also bears a return to work order. So, hindi siya nag-return to work. Hindi siya nag-return to work, hindi siya nag-explain do sa hindi siya nag-reply do sa notice to explain. Ang ginawa ni HR manager, ungas talaga, bumalik do sa address ni employee. Diba? Bumalik siya doon and isineserve niya ulit doon yung notice to explain and return to work. Gago. Siyempre, yung mga tao doon sasabihin sa kanya ulit, hindi nga dito nakatira yan. Natural. I mean, logic. Nagpunta ka doon, sinabi hindi nakatira, babalik ka ulit, i-expectin mo doon na nakatira. So, di ba, may mga HR manager na walang utak. What should have done is to show proof na okay, ang problema dyan, ito yung address, magpupunta ka doon, personal serve mo. Actually, pwedeng sabihin mo nagpunta ka, pero wala ka namang proof na nagpunta, except yung testimony mo lang. Diba? What we should have done, kung yun lang ang last known address ng complainant, is at least sana kinurir niya, NLBC niya, or nagpadala siya through registered mail. Kasi yung pagpunta mo doon at HR manager ka, bibigay ka ng sworn statement na nagpunta ka, sinerve mo yung notice, self-serving yan, gratuitous yan. So sabi ng Supreme Court for Justice Lopez, in this case, we find that the requirements of procedural due process was not complied. The record shows that the only efforts to comply with the procedural process in dismissing the employee were the 2 memorandum which were served which were allegedly served to the employee at his last known address. Hindi yan substantial compliance. So in other words, ang lesson that we have to that we can learn here is that yung well, na-discuss na natin yung notice to explain and how to serve it before. The notice to explain, kukunin mo yung last known address. Personally, i-serve mo doon sa tao. Pag hindi mo na-serve sa tao, punta ka sa address niya, magpasama ka sa barangay, diba? At kung nandun talaga siya at ayaw niya tanggapin, iwanan mo doon sa bahay, meron kang barangay as witness, and then mag-issue ka na, gumawa ka ng affidavit of service. Kung hindi naman, dapat i-registered mail mo yan. Or courier. Kasi wala kang ebidensya na isinerve mo talaga. Meron ka bang barangay na nag-witness sa'yo? Wala. Meron kang proof na pinadala mo yan through the Philippine Postal Services? Wala. Sabi na Supreme Court, hindi pwede yan. So, although merong infraction, si employee, okay, liable siya for the suspension. Sinuspende lang naman ito, hindi naman i-dismiss. Or kung meron ng penalty, yung penalty, okay. Natin yun, i-affirm natin yun. Pero liable kayo ng nominal damages for not complying with the due process. So, diniscuss na natin yan, ano ang penalty ng merong just cause, pero walang due process. Kung merong just cause, yung penalty of dismissal or suspension can be affirmed, but the company who did not afford the employee due process is liable for nominal damages. So let's go to Tupil versus LVP Service Corporation. So ang issue dito yung validity of a fixed term employment and the legality of dismissal. So LVP Service Corporation entered into a manpower service agreement with the Land Bank of the Philippines. So because of this, the complainants was employed by LBP. So merong bangko, Land Bank of the Philippines, merong manpower agency, si bangko at saka si LBP Service, nagkaroon ng manpower contract and nagkaroon ng employment yung mga complainant in this case. However, in 2014, the contract between LBP Services and Land Bank expired. So, nag-expire na. So, ni-recall na yung mga empleyado. Ibig sabihin, sabi ni Land Bank sa mga empleyado, expired na yung contract namin, balik na kayo doon sa manpower agency nyo. In effect, sinasabi, terminated na yung services niya sa amin. So, nung na-receive na ng mga complainant yung recall order from the Land Bank of the Philippines, nag-file sila ng resignation and then nag-file sila ng illegal dismissal claim sa NLRC. So, the complainant's case, sa labor arbiter. Sabi ng labor arbiter, hindi. Fixed term contractual employee kayo. The fact that there was a recall order from the Land Bank of the Philippines ay hindi na ibig sabihin terminated yung employment nyo sa LBP. Because in effect, merong manpower agency, legitimate yung manpower agency, hindi sila empleyado ng Land Bank, empleyado sila ng LBP. So sabi ng labor arbiter, bumalik kayo sa LBP. Huwag niyong sabihin kayo ay natanggal. Makyat sila sa NLRC, ganun rin ang sinabi ng NLRC. Sabi ng NLRC, contractual employee lang kayo dahil nga yung employment contract nyo is actually derived on the contract between LBP and Land Bank which expired. Natural, i-recall talaga kayo. And in fact, walang dismissal na nangyari kasi nag-file kayo ng resignation. So in this case, diniscuss ng Supreme Court through Justice Lopez, ano yung fixed term employment? Actually, we have already discussed this. Yung nung diniscuss natin what are the two kinds of employees, the regular employees and the non-regular employees. Meron namang fixed term employee. As long as the fixed period of employment was knowingly and voluntarily agreed upon by the parties without any force, duress, or improper pressure being brought to them upon the employee and absent any other circumstances vitiating this consent. So, sabi ng Supreme Court dito, it was satisfactorily proven that the LBP and the complainants still dealt with each other on more or less equivalent terms with no moral dominance exercised by the former on the latter. Vinalidate ng Supreme Court yung fixed term or yung contractual employment ng mga complainant with the LBP dahil it appears na hindi namang vitiated yung consent nila when they entered into the said contract. So the Supreme Court continued that there was no evidence indicating that the complainants were pressured into signing their fixed term contract with LBP or that LBP services exhibited dominance over them. They had the chance to refuse, but they consciously accepted their contract. The periods and conditions stipulated in their contracts were likewise not intended to deny them from acquiring security of tenure. So, again, yun nga, since no evidence was submitted by the complainant that their consent was vitiated when they entered into a contract of service with the LBP Manpower, so talo sila. So I guess that in appreciating questions like this, i-validate nyo yung contract of service between the employee and the Manpower Services based on evidence kung merong vitiated consent. Kung walang vitiated consent, i-affirm nyo. Pero kung merong vitiated consent, merong evidence of vitiated consent, yan, pwede nyo sabihin na invalid yung contract. Since invalid yung contract, magkakaroon ng epekto doon sa kasong ipapile ng mga complainant. Kung invalid yung contract, may mga penalties yan. Actually, we have already discussed this during the time that, inuulit ko lang, we talked about the regular and non-regular employees. So just to recap, what are regular employees? Regular employees are doing an activity which are necessary and necessary and desirable to the usual business of the employer. But it does not necessarily follow that if you're doing this activity, regular employee ka, especially if you entered into a fixed term contract na ina-acknowledge mo from the very start, you voluntarily and knowingly agreed to a fixed term contract and wala namang vitiated consent, then you are not a regular employee, you are called a fixed term employee. So let's go to Manrique versus Earth Moving. Dito, diniscuss ng Supreme Court yung quantum of proof to be established in laws of trust and confidence. Sa laws of trust and confidence, iba yung quantum of evidence for managerial employee and iba yung quantum of evidence for rank and file. So I think we have discussed that in our previous discussion na for rank and file employee, yung quantum of evidence that there is loss of trust and confidence, hindi yan applicable dahil as a general rule, yung loss of trust and confidence applicable only to managerial employee and confidential employee that is considered rank and file. Kasi mayroong mga rank and file employee na considered confidential employee. So regardless of the fact that they are just rank and file employee, if their function is confidential in nature, like yung mga cashier, yung mga warehouse man, yung mga warehouse guard, yung mga employee na humahawak ng pera or property because of the trust and confidence reposed by them, by the employer. So rank and file sila, but by reason of the fact that their employment is based on the confidence reposed upon them by the employer, rank and file sila, that can be dismissed by reason of breach of trust and confidence. Ngayon, ano ang difference ng breach of trust and confidence sa managerial at breach of trust and confidence sa confidential rank and file employee? Sa confidential rank and file employee, there must be substantial evidence that the employee. Well, anyway, si complainant, si Manrique was hired as an assistant vice president and then he was eventually hired as an officer in charge. He was dismissed due to poor performance resulting in loss of trust and confidence. Poor performance resulting in loss in confidence. To prove the just cause for the dismissal, the employer pointed out the performance evaluation and various memoranda indicating gross neglect of duty on the part of the employee containing as follows: neglected instructions from his superiors as a track hauling and volume studies, failure to improve kilometer 20 to serve as employees accommodation, in other words, to cut the chase, merong ginawa sa kanyang performance evaluation. And do sa performance evaluation sa kanya, bagsak siya. So, I'd like to tell you that yung mga performance evaluation yan, napakadaling gawin yan. Gratuitous yan, self-serving. So, kung halimbawa ang issue, tinanggal due to performance evaluation, ang daling atakihin yan. Kasi performance evaluation, sino ba in-evaluate mo? Lahat ba in-evaluate mo? O yan lang taong na yan? Because kung mag-evaluate ka, dapat evaluation sa lahat. At kung nagkakaroon ng evaluation, dapat talaga fair and reasonable yung criteria. Yung fair and reasonable na criteria, yung criteria, magiging fair lang yan kung pinaalam mo doon sa mga empleyado mong i-evaluate across the board. Everybody, in-inform mo sa kanila ito yung criteria and you must give them time to prepare for the evaluation. So, nangyari ba dito sa kaso ni employee dito sa kaso ni Manrique? Isa pang issue na nire-raise ng kumpanya is that yung performance evaluation daw ni Manrique binibigay sa kanya, hindi niya tinatanggap. So that is another ground for the loss of trust and confidence in him. So the Supreme Court said, in terminating managerial employee, remember that Manrique is managerial employee. In terminating managerial employee based on loss of trust and confidence, proof beyond reasonable doubt is not required. The mere existence of a basis for believing that such employee has breached the trust of his employer is enough. The degree of proof differs from a rank and file employee, which requires proof of involvement in the alleged event, and that mere uncorroborated assertions by the employee and by the employer will be insufficient. So, ang comment ko lang dito, kasi sinasabi ng Supreme Court dito na yung rank and file employee can be terminated by reason of breach of trust and confidence. Kulang, dapat rank and file employee that are considered confidential employee, because sabi nga natin kanina, the rank and file employee cannot be terminated by reason of breach of trust and confidence. They can only be terminated by reason of breach of trust and confidence kung confidential employee sila. Ngayon, just the same, in-distinguish ng Supreme Court dito yung degree of breach of trust and confidence. Pag managerial employee, maski na suspetsa lang na a mere suspicion that you have done something ano na yan, breach of trust and confidence na yan. Kasi nga, sabi ng Supreme Court, for managerial employee, proof beyond reasonable doubt is required. But for confidential employees who are rank and file employee, there is a different quantum of evidence, and which requires proof of involvement in the alleged event, and that mere uncorroborated assertion by the employer will not be sufficient. Okay, i-distinguish natin. Pag halimbawang managerial, suspicion, assertion by the employer, mere assertion by the employee na ay, wala na akong tiwala sa'yo, that is already sufficient. But for rank and file employee or are considered confidential employee, dapat hindi lang assertion ng employer, there must be actually proof of involvement. I think we have already discussed this in our previous lecture. So, okay, ano lang yan, side comments lang yan. But ang pinaka-importante dito is that how to evaluate performance evaluation. Kasi nga, sabi ko sa inyo, ang performance evaluation, palaging suspect yan. Pag gustong tanggalin ni employer si empleyado, gagawa ng performance evaluation. Diba? Tapos ibabagsak na sa performance evaluation. Ano yan? Napakadaling ikutan yung prohibition against dispensing an employee without just cause by doing a performance evaluation. Kaya nga sinasabi natin, pag performance evaluation ang pinag-uusapan, medyo mag-iingat tayo. Ngayon, in the case of Panrique, ano nangyari dito? Yung date of the evaluation period cover are not indicated. So, kung hindi indicated yung performance evaluation, doon sa performance evaluation, kailan siya in-evaluate? That's one. Second, the person who conducted the evaluation on Manrique is not even his immediate superior. So kung hindi ikaw yung immediate superior ko, paano mo ko i-evaluate? Hindi naman tayo nagtatrabahong magkasama. Maobserbahan mo ba ako? Hindi kayo immediate superior ko. Third, the performance evaluation was not given to the complainant, to the employee. Sabi niya, binigyan namin ayaw i-receive. Sabi ng Supreme Court, dapat ipinadala mo by registered mail. Ito yung discussion natin the last time na kung ayaw i-receive ng employee yung notice to explain, hindi pwede nagpunta ako sa bahay, sabi hindi na daw siya nakatira doon. You must serve it by registered mail or at least by courier. So, under the situation na merong question sa bar about performance evaluation, pwede niyong atakihin. Using this case, first is that ano yung evaluation covered? Ano yung period of evaluation covered? If there is none, then there is no performance evaluation that is valid. Second, who conducted the performance evaluation? Is it the superior, immediate superior, o ibang tao? Kung hindi yung immediate superior, hindi yan valid. Third, is the performance evaluation based on a reasonable and fair criteria that was made known to the employee and that was applied to all employees across the board. Otherwise, hindi magiging fair and reasonable yung performance evaluation na yan. So, yun yung lessons na dapat ma-achieve natin dito sa kasong ito.